we are at the very last chapter in what we could call Unit 4. From the time we finished Chapter 3, in time we finished test number 3 until we get to the final. So this is the last chapter before the final. So we are almost done. I started to come out this time instead of the sweater. I thought about coming out in shorts and a muscle shirt, but I thought no, they probably couldn't handle that. So I better keep these bulging muscles, covered with this sweater. I can hear the laughter already through the camera. This is kind of I like these last few chapters. I really wish we'd have been here together. I love doing the chapter on finance and that sort of thing with folks, and the chapter about money. I enjoy doing that with folks in the room where we can do that together. And this chapter is no different. This chapter is called Managing Personal Finances. Now, what our author has done, he's kind of said, okay, time out. Most of what we've been talking about is introduction to business. We've been talking about economics and accounting and management and marketing, all this kind of stuff. But let me just take one little chapter and talk a little bit about personal finances. Some things maybe we could do to help ourselves with our personal finances. And so that, again, the name of it, Managing Personal Finances. Now, we have a course here at Delta that I teach. And it's Business 140, Personal Financial Planning. It is a wonderful little course. It's not a difficult course, but it's a course that can really help you with your financial planning. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to give you a little taste of Business 140, kind of like Chapter 17 when we did the accounting. We just did a little taste of the accounting, of what accounting is all about. We'll do the same thing here with personal financial planning. Okay. I start this off in my personal financial planning class, and I do a little bit more with it than this, but let me just start it off kind of this way. In a capitalistic economic system, we're primarily capitalistic. People have the opportunity to own their own businesses, to work the places they want to work, and make income, make money, either as an owner or a manager or an employee or whatever. So, and by the way, something else I can tell you, hopefully to make you feel good, is that we've gone from face-to-face classes to online classes, and I know this is a stressful time for y'all. It's a stressful time for me, so I know it is for you, because as I always talk about, students, y'all have so many things going on, and I appreciate all that, that you do. But think about it this way. These classes that you're doing here at Delta, you're making money. Now, I know you say, whoa, I don't think so. But every statistic that's ever been done, every study that's ever been done, over your lifetime, if you get a higher education degree, a degree above a high school education or a high school diploma, you're going to make considerably more money during your lifetime. So this is going to literally pay off for you in days to come. The other thing is this. I don't know what your career is going to be. I don't know exactly what you're going to end up doing. You may end up doing something and become incredibly wealthy. You may end up doing something where you make a good living. So I don't know, but I do know this. During your career, you're going to earn a considerable amount of money. Income. Do you want to utilize that income in the very best way you can to have as good a life as you can have for your family and yourself? And then when you retire, live in retirement the way you want to live? Well, I think the answer to that is yes. So I never say that having money means you're a success. If you don't have a ton of money, you're not successful. I don't measure success in money. I measure success in what you've chosen to do with your life and with your career, and if it's something you want to do and it's fulfilling to you and you feel like you're maybe, we talked about make a difference, then, and that's something that I'm happy with and it's what I want to do, that's what you need to be doing. In doing that, whatever it is though, you're going to be making income, you're going to be making money. So do you want to maximize the use of that money for you and your family? Now, again, the answer is yes. Okay, so if you're ever in personal financial planning with me, and I'd love for you to be, you'll see me put this little fellow up all the time, this person. This person is a personal financial planner. They're doing personal financial planning. Now, and again, not going to hit much of this, we're just kind of introducing this. But this is a timeline. This is into the future. And just like organizations have certain goals and objectives, you're going to have certain financial goals and objectives. This is within a year, because you're also going to be doing budgeting. Budgeting you absolutely have to do as a part of personal financial planning. Because just like businesses budget to make sure they meet their goals and objectives, you have to do that same sort of thing. So one of the first things we do in personal financial planning, we establish your financial goals. And then you have your budget here. And then this comes out over a period of time. Different people's financial goals are going to be different. Your financial goals may change from time to time, but the budgeting you budget to try to reach and accomplish those financial goals. This one out here is retirement, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Okay, so this is kind of where we are, and since money we think of as green, I'll draw a green line. What you want to do is over time, you want to become. Matter of fact, you were at Delta Community College getting a business degree. I didn't increase your wealth enough. Let's increase your wealth some more than that. This is wealth. Do you hope to and intend to be wealthier 20 years from now than you are now? Well, sure. And personal financial planning helps you do that. So, do I think everybody should be a personal financial planner? Well, sure. Do I think everybody should maximize the use of their funds to be able to get the most out of life and all those other things that go along with it? Well, that answer again is yes. So, this is, like I said, just kind of touching on this here, on this particular thing here today. All right. Our author starts off with the handout. He says, how do you get started with personal financial planning? What are some things you might need to consider, some things you might need to do that will help you? And he says, here are some things you can do to control your finances, to kind of get yourself ready for personal financial planning. Number one is inventory of assets. Hey, I want to be a personal financial planner. He says, here's some things you've got to do, here's some things you've got to consider. Now, you know what assets are. Chapter 17, assets are things you own. Inventory your assets. What do you have? Is it important to know what you have? Well, sure. Number two, track all expenses. You know what would be interesting if you get ready to start doing personal financial planning? For about 6 months, check your expenses. You can do it on a computer, you can do it on a piece of paper and pencil, but track how you spend your money. I guarantee you'll say things like, I had no idea I spent that much money on such and such. Or I had no idea I spent so little money on this. So track your expenses. Tracking your expenses. Now see, when you get into budgeting as a personal financial planner, you're going to do that because remember, you budget revenue and you budget your expenses. But we're just kind of getting ourselves ready now. Number three, prepare a budget. Okay, as you get ready to go into personal financial planning, after you have inventoried your assets and you've tracked your expenses, you're pretty much ready to prepare a budget. Number four, pay off debts. Different people that teach personal financial planning and different personal financial planning advisors talk differently about this. Do I think you should try to pay off every debt and have no debt whatsoever? The answer to that is no. I mean, what are you going to probably go in debt for? To buy a house? Sure. Who can pay cash for a house? Even a car. Can you pay cash for a car? No. There are certain things that you're going to probably go in debt to purchase or to acquire. But remember, those things that you acquire, those things are assets. And what do those assets do? They build your wealth. So if you go into debt to buy a home, and now you have a nice home here that's appreciating, growing in value, are you increasing your wealth? Yeah. So there are some debts that are it's okay to have. I've heard some personal financial planners say, no debt. If you can't pay for that car, get a second job, get a third job. life is not about 3 jobs. Life is about enjoying it, living it, enjoying yourself, enjoying it with your family, making a difference. That's what life is about. It's not how many jobs you can work. So paying off debt, paying off what we'll call, I guess what I can call bad debts. Credit cards, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26% interest. Payroll loans, don't ever do anything like that. If you do them, get those things paid off. Credit cards, it's great to have a credit card. Talk about that in a minute, but you want to keep that balance down. Hey, I want to go to Hawaii. I'm going to borrow $4,000, $5,000 and go to Hawaii. Don't do that. Because you're going to go to Hawaii, you're going to have a great time, come back with a sunburn and a bunch of pictures. And you're going to be paying that off month after month after month. And all you've got those pictures to show from it. Budget ahead of time. Set aside money so that when you want to make that trip, you can take that trip. That's the idea. Those would be the kind of debts you don't want to incur or you want to pay off. Start a savings plan. If you do personal financial planning, you save. Hey, now I'm a personal financial planner, but I don't save any money. No, you're not. You're not a personal financial planner. If you don't save, you're not playing the game. Why? Because you've got financial goals out here. And you've got financial goals that you're going to need money. Maybe one of these is a new house, and you've got to have a 20% down payment. Okay, you've got to save money and invest that money so you'll have that 20% when you get ready to buy that home. So savings is a part of personal financial planning. You've got to save. And then lastly, borrow only for good assets. We've already talked about that. What that means is, if you're going to borrow for something that will increase your assets, increase your wealth. Okay. Now, looking at my notes, he throws out, what are some things you can invest in? And I think we talked a little bit about this in chapter 18 or 19. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can do a CD, a certificate of deposit at the bank, you can invest in T-bills, treasury notes of the federal government, you can invest in mutual funds. Mutual funds are a conglomeration or a number of different stocks and bonds put together. We'll talk about all that stuff in Business 140. But he says something else you can invest in is real estate. Real estate is a relatively good investment. Now, you can mess up on real estate, but real estate really, if you're careful, it can be a really good investment. My friends, we have some really great friends in Georgia. I probably mentioned them earlier about buying some stock in one of the earlier chapters. He's been in the real estate business in an executive position with a company for years, and he has bought several homes over the years that he rents those homes, and he's been very, very successful with that. And so he's got that as rental property, or if he ever decided he wanted to cash in, he could sell those homes. Okay. So I would just be familiar with, excuse me, I'd just be familiar with the things that you need to do to control your expenses. Those 5 are your finances. Those 6 things we talked about. You need to inventory your assets, track all your expenses, prepare a budget, pay off debts. I'd be familiar with those 6 things that helps get you on track for personal financial planning. I'd also be familiar with the fact that real estate is a relatively secure investment. It's something that you might want to consider. And of course, a home is a real estate investment. Okay. Now let's go back to credit. Credit card. Are these evil? Are these evil? No, they're not evil. It's the credit card. Should a personal financial planner have a credit card as a part of their financial stuff, their personal financial planning? Yeah. You know, what are some good things about credit cards? Credit cards, if you can need them in an emergency, you've got them. Sometimes if you use credit cards, you can get cash back and stuff like that. Other times, these credit card companies, they will send you a list of all the different types of expenditures by category. That helps you with your budgeting. Having a credit card and handling a credit card well can build your credit. So there's some good things and credit's simple and easy to use. It's perfectly okay to use credit. However, pay them off. Do not let those balances increase. The interest rates on a good credit card is probably going to be 12, 14, 16%. If you've got a Sears, well, no Sears around here. If you've got a Dillard's, a Kohl's, a credit card like that, interest rates on that thing is going to be 22, 24, 26%. Those are huge interest rates. That's that bad debt. You don't want that. It's okay to utilize a credit card. My wife uses a credit card for virtually every purchase she makes. But at the end of the month, she pays it off. I use a credit card quite a bit myself. At the end of the month, I pay it off. It's simple. It's easy. It gives me semi-annually. They send me a listing of the different things that it helps build credit, but I pay it off. Okay. So that's the thing about credit cards. I'd be familiar with that. I'd be familiar with credit cards. The fact that it's perfectly okay for personal financial planners to use credit cards, but don't run up a balance on them. All right. You're building, now this is a big deal in personal financial planning, in Business 140. I'm just going to hit it like this. You've got financial goals, you're doing budgets, you're doing savings, you're building up your wealth, you're doing some investments, everything's going good. You don't want something to zap your wealth. You don't want, so you're going to put an umbrella over your wealth. Because you want to protect your wealth from the rain. Or maybe, how about this? A lightning bolt. You want it to come off. What do you use to protect your wealth? You use this. Insurance. A lot of your wealth needs to be insured to protect it. Now, we talk a lot about this in Business 140. It's really critically important. I'll just talk a minute about it here. Let's look at different types of insurance. Life insurance. Do most people need life insurance? Yes. If I have life insurance, is it going to do me any good? No, because I'm going to before it pays off. But if there could be other people that could have economic hardships as a result of my death, should I have life insurance to protect them and to protect my wealth? The answer is sure. Now, there's all kinds of life insurance. There's whole life insurance. There's term life insurance. There's a number of different types of life insurance policies. But the purest type, universal life, I guess universal life, whole life, and term life are the three big ones. You've got credit life and some stuff like that. But I just want to mention to you one kind for a moment. The purest life insurance there is term life. You buy life insurance for a period of time. You can get the most coverage at the cheapest cost, especially if you're young. All right. I'm married, you're saying. I'm married, I have 2 children, I've got a house, I've got 2 vehicles. The house, I have a house note, I'm paying for my 2 vehicles. I got 2 kids. I mean, I got a lot of expenses. I got a lot of stuff. Boy, if I died, would it be a real problem for my family? The answer is yeah. Well, at the same time, I want to get as much insurance as I can for the least amount of cost. That would be a great example for term insurance. So I'm going to get $250,000 or whatever of term insurance. And I'm going to get a 30-year term. I'm going to buy term insurance for a 30-year period of time. All right, what does that mean? Let's say that I buy that insurance the day I turn 30. The day I turn 30 years old, I go to the insurance company, I pay the premium, I sign all the paperwork, I'll walk out of there, I am 30 years old today, and I have a $250,000 policy. 2 weeks later, I get run over by a 18-wheeler. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be gruesome here, but we got to talk about life insurance. Does anybody get anything? Yeah. Whoever, now, a beneficiary is whoever gets the proceeds of the life insurance. Whoever you designated, your wife, your husband, whoever, as a person. 2 weeks later, do they get, I'm run over? Yeah, they get $250,000 because you have that policy. It's a 30-year term. 20 years later, at the age of 50, Something happens. Does anybody get the money? Yeah, your beneficiary gets $250,000. Okay. Today was my birthday. I turned 60 years old. I had a wild and crazy blowout party. We partied till almost 11 o'clock before we went to bed. I fell into bed exhausted from all that hard partying that I did. I got up the next morning. I'm still kind of wheezing and still kind of stumbling around from all that Diet Coke and chocolate chip cookies. And I walk out to the mailbox. Accidentally, I stumble, I fall in the road. I get hit. Who gets what? Nobody gets nothing. What? Nobody gets nothing. How long ago did I buy that insurance? 30 years and 1 day. It's not in effect anymore. It's only in effect for that 30-year period of time, or 20-year period of time, or whatever you want it. But when you buy term insurance, you say, look, these 30 years is critically important to me. Because by the time the 30 years are over, I'm going to have built up my wealth. I'm going to have paid down the stuff I need to pay down. I'm not going to need it. That's term insurance. Now you can buy other kinds of insurance that will last as long as you pay the premium. But I just want you to be familiar with what term insurance is. It's the simplest, the purest, the least expensive form. You buy it for a period of time or a term. Okay. Health insurance. Here's my only comment. You cannot afford to pay health care costs out of your regular salary or out of your regular savings. Going to the doctor, doing things like that today are incredibly expensive. You've got to provide some type of way that when you have medical illness issues or accident issues that require medical treatment or rehabilitation or drugs, that it's paid for. Again, in Business 140, we talk all about that. Homeowners insurance, you got to have it? Yes, you got to have it. That's your biggest, probably for most people, their biggest assets. You know, and there are particular types of homeowner insurance you can have. You can get some that's really bad. You can get some that's really good. In Business 140, we talk about what you need as far as homeowner. I'll throw this in also, renter's insurance. There's this brand new set of apartments that open up, and you say, man, I'd like to rent one of those apartments, okay? So you go in and you rent the apartment, you sign all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, and you go in, you move your stereo in there, you got some pretty nice stuff in there. It burns to the ground, okay? Does that person who owns those apartments, do they have insurance on their stuff? Yep. They got insurance on their building, they got insurance on all that stuff. Do they have insurance on your stuff? Nope, they don't. And you say, well, why not? Because that's what it says in the policy. So if you're ever renting and you've got some really nice stuff in there that you would hate to lose in case something happened to that place, you might want to buy renter's insurance. It's really inexpensive. Okay. Automobile insurance, you have to have it? Yes. And we'll talk about in Business 140 about what kind of automobile insurance that you need. Okay, so auto insurance, health insurance, property and liability, talk about that and what liability is in Business 140. Life insurance, you have to have those. I can't afford them. No. You can't afford not to have them. You can't afford not to have them. You know, it goes with the territory. You've got to make enough. You've got to budget enough to pay for your insurances because you've got to have them. You can't afford to lose your wealth. Okay, planning for retirement. All right. Now this is the time that if we're in class together, I would ask you, what age do you want to retire? What age do you want to retire? Some people say, I want to retire at 55. Every once in a while somebody will tell me I want to retire in 5 years and they're only 25. Not sure they're going to make it, but they may. I want to retire at 60. I want to retire at 65, 62. I want to work till I'm 70. You know, so different people have different ideas of how they want to retire or when they want to retire. But then, all right, so once I get all that from everybody in the room, then I say, how do you want to live in retirement? What do you want your retirement years to look like? I want to live in relative poverty. No, you don't. You want to live well, right? You want to live well. You got to prepare for retirement. And we talk about that again in Business 140. The truth is, if you're doing personal financial planning, you want to live well financially throughout your life, and you want to prepare yourself to live well during retirement. That's the way it needs to work. Okay, so let's talk about planning for retirement. There's something called Social Security. A lot of y'all have probably paid into Social Security. Most of you know what Social Security is. Do I think Social Security will be around when you retire? The answer is yes. You say, no, it won't be. We disagree, and you may be right. But I think Social Security in some form will be around when you retire. Okay. Do I think Social Security is going to be enough money to each month for you to live the way you probably want to live during retirement? I don't think so. So here's what you want to do. And just be familiar with that thought. Be familiar with the fact that Social Security is a good foundation for retirement, but it's not going to be enough to take care of your retirement altogether. So let's go over here, and I'm going to wrap this chapter up. I'll wrap it up in black, because we see that better. So here is Social Security. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, to do what you want to do, but it's a doggone good start. Then, maybe you have a pension from your company, or maybe you have a 401k investment plan from your company. In addition to that, you have done some investing yourself. So you have some investments of your own. And then you have certain liquid assets. You got money, okay? And maybe you might even do something in retirement. You might even do a little part-time job of some kind. So you see what we're doing? We're layering, one layer, two layers. We're layering for your retirement. When you layer different things that you've prepared for retirement, when you, through your years, you come here, then when you get ready to retire, then you're not counting on one thing, you've got a number of different things that you have for your retirement. Then you can live the way that you want to live in retirement, just like you lived in your years that you were working. Okay. Like I said, I love this chapter. I like doing it. I love Business 140. I hope you'll take that class with me. I think that's pretty much. I don't think there were any no's in this bonus chapter D. So we are done with 17, 18, 19, 20, and bonus chapter D. What I'm going to do, the next video that you see, I'm going to do a review for the final. So that's going to be coming up. For me, it's going to be coming up in just a few minutes. I'm not sure exactly when you will watch it. Important stuff right here. There's no reason that everybody should not practice personal financial planning. It's good for you. All right. Enjoyed that particular chapter with you. Online with Professor Joe Lane continues. Let me shut this particular chapter down, and then I'll get ready to do the review. All right, as I have to do with all of us, let's all shout. At the time I clap my hand, Professor Pierce will know we are through with this chapter. Thank you. See you back soon.